because I'm special. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Can I say that you all look great without being accused of harassment? Well, then what's the point? I kid. You all look great. Except you, Ted. That's a weird place for a mosquito bite. So how about those lockdowns? Much like the politicians who implemented them, they didn't work. 2 weeks to flatten the curve became 2 years of flatlining the economy. And finally, now a new study compares how well states handled the pandemic. Turns out that the ones that came out worst had the toughest lockdowns and policies. This, according to the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, which oddly was the nickname for my right hand. They graded the states comparing deaths, economies, and impact on education. And like the time I wore a kilt over a subway grating, the results weren't pretty. According to their research, the bottom 10 were dominated by states with the most severe lockdowns and among the last to finally reopen schools. The conclusion, shutting down economies and schools was by far the biggest mistake governors and state officials made during COVID, particularly in the blue states. Hell, that doesn't even include them getting caught not following their own rules. So the blue states did the worst. So you remember the heady days of Cuomo, of Governor Hunkface?
How would you contrast Cuomo and President Trump's handling of the crisis?
Truth versus mendacity.
It's starting to feel like America has this one president in Washington, but a whole different president for the coronavirus crisis, who's the guy in charge in New York.
Trevor, you call yourself a Cuomo-sexual, and I agree with you. I feel like I'm a Cuomo-sexual too.
Yeah, I think it genuinely has been very inspiring and refreshing to see a leader like Cuomo.
Oh, you perverts. Well, New York performed poorly on every measure, ranking 49th overall, according to the study. But we did bump up our numbers of subway platform shovers, looters, mass shooters, and street poopers. New Jersey, where smells come from, was the worst performing state, the study found. California, Illinois, and Washington, D.C. also received an F, meaning let's rent a U-Haul and get the F out of here. After all, these places also have high crime, meaning the only people who benefited from wearing masks were the criminals. They had high age-adjusted death rates, high unemployment, significant GDP losses, and they kept their schools shut down much longer than almost all other states. Imagine what that did to the mental states of the children out of school and, of course, their parents. Oh, I love Three's Company. Meanwhile, who topped the list? Utah, Nebraska, Vermont, and Florida, all governed by Republicans. But states that locked down businesses, churches, schools, and restaurants for lengthy periods did not have lower death rates than those that remained open. And the poor mortality rates in some states, such as New Jersey and New York, can be explained in part by Democrat governors forcing nursing homes to take COVID-19 patients. That worked out about as well as Brian Stelter's personal trainer. The lesson, don't use a sledgehammer when you should use a fly swatter.
Thanks for meeting with me. I have an issue with the fridge in the break room. Someone keeps stealing my yogurt, and I was hoping...
No problem. We'll get rid of the fridges.
No, it's not so much the fridge, it's just I put my name on it, and someone keeps eating it.
No, you're right. You're right. No more eating. And we're going to ban lunches, too. Yeah, fire the cafeteria staff and lock the doors. Actually, you know what? Leave the staff in there, then lock the doors just to be safe. Great idea, Dave. You know what? I'm going to send a company-wide email letting everyone know it was Dave's idea to cancel lunch.
No, don't tell people that.
Done. It's done.
But
Thank you so much. Dave, have a good one. Thank you so much.
I just wanted...
Thank you. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Fruit on the bottom and stolen on the top.
They make a great couple. And there's Florida, whose GOP governor, Ron DeSantis, did away with COVID restrictions early on, ranked 28th in mortality. In comparison, heavily locked down California came in 27th in terms of death. You can say, wow, that's no big difference. But that's the point. Florida not locking down still did better than the most locked down state. And Florida's mortality rate was likely due in part that the average person there went to high school with Moses. That state averages 45 broken hips an hour. But I love Florida. Although California did have one group that was immune, Governor Newsom and his pals who partied at a fancy schmancy restaurant while families were stuck in solitary confinement. Who knew the smoked quail appetizer has such protective powers? The study also found that keeping schools closed had no impact on the number of deaths in kids or adults. So that was all just an arbitrary punishment enacted by the teachers' unions who got aroused by the power they had over parents, kids, and politicians. The school boards are still wearing masks, so we can't see them laughing at us. Maybe that's part of the plan. Keep kids dumb so they grow up to vote for more of this bull. The states with lockdown economies also had jobless rates 2 percentage points higher. That's thousands of unemployed, and it stayed that way for 2 years. Meaning, like Shelley Long leaving Cheers, they still never fully recovered from their mistake. And one of the two biggest liberal states, New York, ranked second to last for its economic performance. California was ranked 50th for its education disruption and 40th for the economy. Comparatively, Florida was third for the least impact to education and 13th in economic performance. Sorry, Kat, that's a lot of numbers. We saw this coming, though, didn't we? It's almost like the Dems had an ulterior motive. Ironically, those demanding we follow the science did the worst. I guess they meant the political science. The lesson, the people who accuse you of not caring, of having blood on your hands, or putting grandma at risk were the ones guilty of all three. I think shrinks call that projecting, all the while accusing you of being the problem when it's them. Of course, you won't hear about that. You won't hear about this research, except here, because we love you. And there's no way you can lock down that, or lock that down. Period. Or just shut up, Greg. Shut up! Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's the only one who left Texas for New York that wasn't returning a Ryder truck. Host of Lawrence Jones Cross Country on Saturday nights, Lawrence Jones. He spent more time in enemy territory than Jane Fonda. Florida Republican congressional candidate Corey Mills. And this year, Lent gave her up. Fox News contributor Kat Tiff. Finally, he did a trust fall and crushed 30 of his coworkers. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Television Champion, Tyrus.
Greg?
Yes?
Gotta point out, only chick feels like Guy Town in here again.
Is it Guy Town? I think it is. I think it might be time for Guy Town.
Guy Town, gambling with your buddies and lifting weights. Hey, beer is cool. Watching sports with your friends and being handsome. But it's okay if you're not handsome. Guy Town! Ow!
Oh, just one change in a single verb, and it could all become so much different. Lawrence, are you surprised by this research about the states?
No, I'm not surprised, but I got to admit, at first when the Cuomo stuff, the conferences, I mean, we aired them.
Yes.
I mean, we were fair. We're unlike Democrats.
Right.
We actually applaud people when they do great deeds, but when more revelations started to come out, it's like, this guy really isn't doing the job. He's just saying things nicely.
Yeah.
And what I'm afraid of is that has become it's not just COVID, it's every issue. If you just say things in a pretty fashion, then that's what people want. But isn't that how we got Joe Biden in the first place?
Exactly.
It's like if we wanted someone to be so presidential and then get everything wrong, then we got our guy. But if we wanted results and it to be a little messy, then you get Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Saying things nicely is the opposite of Trump.
Yeah.
And so now we got all the crappy stuff with a guy who just got on today by a bird. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was nasty.
That was nasty.
I missed it.
Even the birds don't like it.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
That's when we knew it was done for Joe.
Yeah, but that means he gets doesn't he get like 10 years of good luck or something?
That's only if it's a bird, not a vulture. And that was a vulture.
How do you know that?
He's dying.
What do you mean?
Vultures circle.
Oh, terrible. That is so...
His administration.
The administration.
Yes, no, he's fine. He's in great health. He's fine.
There you go. Woo-hoo-hoo. Corey.
Thank you.
I believe that this is the only show and probably the only network that is actually covering this study. I haven't seen it anywhere, but then again, I'm very lazy. I don't really look at anything.
Well, I'll tell you, though, it just shows once again that Governor DeSantis had it right from the beginning. He didn't allow, political science to overrule medical science. He did look at the fact that he knew what locking down schools for a long period of time would do to the children. He understood that locking down businesses was going to impact the GDP, which is why, Florida has done so well. But I mean, again, it just shows once again, like you have someone like Governor Cuomo, who was fantastic in the way that he would present things. And so it was all political optics and gaslighting over real strategic theory and understanding what this actually was. So again, my hat's off to Governor DeSantis and how he's handled this, as well as for President Trump during Warp Speed.
Yeah, do you remember the good old days of Death Santis? Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, all the Dems thought they were so clever. Hashtag Death Santis. It's not even that good, Kat. You would come up with something better than that, I would hope, or you would be fired.
Yeah, because I think if he was really murdering people, you wouldn't be worried about like a kitschy name. They knew that he wasn't actually killing people. That's why they're all vacationing there. But it's, you talk about numbers, but these are real people who lost businesses, lost jobs, had to stay home with their children. And that's probably the worst.
Yes.
I was so grateful to be childless, like even more so than usual.
Yeah.
But there's no recovering from that for some of these people. And they're like, they won't even give us an oops.
No.
They still, even after all that, won't be like, sorry I destroyed your life, which I think if you destroy someone's life is the least you can do.
The thing is, though, you can't do oops because then you get sued by people who get money for oops. Right? That's why we still have these stupid lockdowns and these mask things, because everybody is everybody. Politicians and people in business are terrified of litigation. So that's why you can never say oops. You can never own your mistakes. Unlike Tyrus, read your entire book this weekend. Amazing.
Oh, thank you, Briz. Thank you.
And you owned up to every chapter. You had made some kind of mistake that you owned up to.
Yeah, which would mean I'm going to be terrible in politics. So I'll just stay here. I feel like it's like a broken record we're dealing with. It seems like the Democratic philosophy has become that exterior thing, the virtue signaling thing, where they don't have real problems and they're completely out of touch with real people because they have all the answers in their safe space books.
Yeah.
So lockdowns was the benefit for everyone. They're helping them, and it helped them too because, and it's those, especially the elitists, they liked having open highways and freeways, and they could have their elitist little parties. And I know that sounds small, but it seemed to be a really big thing. And they got to be on TV more, and they got to tell you what they were going to do for you. I mean, one of them did it so well, he got an Emmy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He got an award for theatrical performance.
Yeah.
In real life, which is bad. You don't want an award for that. And then they had to, because you don't see it with progressives and the woke, they never backtrack. They never reroute. They never say, you don't even got to say, oops. Oh, we just had a new study coming in. Apparently, we don't need to be inside. Everyone goes out, yay, we're heroes. They won't do that because they live in that exterior. And what DeSantis and a lot of Republicans did is they went into the exterior and they said, how do I want to live through this? And they projected that onto American people. And people were like, yeah, we agree with that. And there was times we didn't like things, and we did like things, and it worked out. And eventually, we all stepped out of the house and went on with our lives. While life's pretty good when you're in control of everything. And that's really what we kind of saw the example of what freedom in America looks like and what socialism looks like.
Yeah, you know what? And it's like, I always counted myself when I was on the 5 as being part of that elitist. I was coming into Fox every day, nobody on the road. I'd get here in record time, have free food. I mean, I was like, and it's like, that's why when you were on a TV show, you couldn't tell people to stay home because you're if you do that. Like I'm saying, yeah, but I can go and you can stay home. That was the big hypocrisy.
But you didn't do that, though.
But I'll tell you, though, stay home. Just stay home.
The elitist for me, though, wasn't necessarily the people who was actually taking advantage of the empty roads. It was the ones who was taking advantage of the online shopping.
Yes.
The Jeff Bezos, the Amazons of the world, who were contributing money to the people that were actually locking down societies so that they could drive their sales up. I mean, these are people who are, exploiting the lockdowns.
Yeah. What scares me is that they're not even trying to hide the double standard anymore.
No,
it's like they're spitting in our face and you better believe it's spit. It's not rain. Jen Psaki said the other day that Kamala, it was a powerful moment, so that's why she was entitled to take her mask off. It's like, we know that's not right. You know that's not right.
Yep.
You know you can't spin that, but you're doing it because you can get away with it.
Exactly. I think we're going to be seeing the shift away from the race identity politics as people wise up and see that this is a class thing, And I'm the proletariat. Yep. No, I'm not. I'm not anything like that. I'm just a handsome talk show host looking at you.
We're already in commercial, huh?
No, we're not. I don't even know
Okay.
where I am. Up next, Donald Trump knows his worth as the cleanest guy on earth.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.